Welcome back to the chaos. Welcome to the Casual Chaos podcast. I'd like to thank everybody for joining us tonight. It's 7:34, coming on 7:35 on a Thursday evening. I'm here in lovely Tampa Bay, and as always, I'm joined by my host, Jeff and Bubba. What is up, fellas?
How you doing, JayAsh? Bubba, how you been, buddy?
Good. How are you guys doing? It's an early start for us tonight.
Yeah, these pre-production meetings are getting better. It must be because it's our 5th episode, and we're seasoned veterans now.
I love it.
We're turning into professionals.
Yeah, the audience has just been raving about it. So, but speaking of the audience, that's why we're here. You know, as much as we love doing the pod, we're doing it for you. So follow us on all the socials at Casual Chaos Live. We're doing this right now, YouTube at Casual Chaos Live. And you can listen to the pods anywhere you pod, Apple, Spotify, you name it. We're out there. YouTube, yeah, Casual Chaos Live. So check us out. We launched our first ever contest on Tuesday. So we're starting to gain some momentum as we head into bragging rights this evening. We'll hit on that contest a little bit more, but send your tickets in. $25 4-team parlays is what we do on the bragging rights parlay. You can send in any denomination as long as it is 4 teams, and we will read the tickets during our segment. Little competition, healthy competition between us and the fan base. And then there is a $25 free bet prize to the winner if somebody dethrones one of us or takes the title. So send those tickets in all week long. We'll be, all the tickets you send in, they could be for tonight's game through the weekend, and they can be all the way up until next Wednesday at 6 p.m. and it'll run on the next podcast we do. So
yeah, if you need more info on that, just go to our socials because there's a little video out there explaining everything in a little bit more detail.
And we'll be dropping those breadcrumb videos all week for everybody to consume. So again, this is about the fans. We want to hear what you guys are doing, where your bets are, what you're playing, where you're winning. Hopefully no bad beats. But they just seem inevitable sometime. So, but we got a lot to talk about tonight. We got a lot going on, but we have to start with Bubba and giving us a little Wrigley rundown on that crazy game he witnessed and the vibe and the ticket cashing that went on, because it was pretty sick, and it went a little bit viral almost.
Yeah, hopefully you guys saw the video that we put out there. You guys were going nuts, Bubba.
Oh, it was insane. I don't want to take too much time and spend on it because it was last Friday, but I'm going to tell you right now, what an environment. Wrigley Field was a bucket list for me. And now I don't want to go back because I know I'm not going to top that game. It was insane. So I'll just give you a little quick rundown. So we're there. We have all you can eat, all you can drink, beer. I'm like 7 beers deep. And all of a sudden it's the bottom of the 7th, and my buddy goes, "Hey, look at this bet that I put in. It's for the Cubs not to bat in the bottom of the 9th inning." And I'm like, "Dude, congrats, you hit. This is incredible." And I'm giving him a high five. We're cheersing. It's incredible. And the Diamondbacks in the top of the 8th scored 6 runs to take the lead. And it was like you could hear a pin drop in our section. It was ridiculous. And I told him, I go, "Hey, it's not over. It's not over." And he's like, "No, it's over." And then the Cubs come back, they score 10, and the place just went nuts. You couldn't have drawn up a better bachelor party Cubs game. It was wild. But no, it was a blast. And like I said, just I don't want to go back to Wrigley because I know, and now we're all Cubs fans, right? So we bought the hats, we bought the shirts. So we're following the Cubs. Nobody wants to follow the Rays. Sorry, Tampa. I'm born and raised in Tampa. Nobody wants to follow the Rays, but there's a Tampa guy on the Cubs team, Kyle Tucker, little 2-run home run in the bottom of the 8th, or 3-run home run, I think, to put us up a score. So no, it was incredible. I think that's the epitome of like gambling, sports. That was the high of it all, right? That could have been a low, right? The Cubs could have just went 3 up, 3 down for the next 2 innings, and he loses his bet. But for that to happen on a Friday afternoon at Wrigley was just insane. Yeah,
you're going to have an amazing time the rest of the weekend, regardless. You're walking out of there a little bummed. You're probably giving him a little shit for chewing on that. But for that to happen and everybody to go nuts like you guys were, I mean, I saw some people losing their mind in that video. It was awesome.
So it's funny. So my buddy, if you slow down the video, you could see one of my friends just throwing a full beer. And so like after the whole celebration settled down, one of the ushers comes over, and like one of my buddies is sitting in front of the usher, and the buddy who's throwing the beer is right next to him. And he looks at the buddy who's throwing the beer and he goes, "Hey, we got you on camera. You got to stop throwing beer." he go, and my buddy is sitting there soaked in beer, and he goes, "Wait, who's throwing beer?" the usher's like, "Do you not see this guy? He's covered in beer." Oh, it was awesome. It was a good time.
That's fantastic. I didn't have that much fun this weekend. Jeff, did you?
This weekend? No, I did not. Not the kind of fun you guys were having at Wrigley. That looked like a blast, man. Meanwhile, we got the Knicks and the Pistons pushing and shoving live on TV here.
Yeah, so. I'm looking
already?
At it right now too. Yeah. But end of the first quarter, and we already got pushing and shoving. What's going on?
Yeah, bad blood in that series already. I like it.
I love it. I think the Knicks are going down in that series personally.
I think the Pistons are hungry, man. I agree with you.
Yeah. Are you guys both watching that game?
Yeah.
I got it on.
I've got the looks like the NFL draft preview.
Yeah, but that starts at what, 8 and
8 o'clock.
We know who's getting picked first, right? So that takes us to like 8:20.
Yeah, who's getting picked first?
Ward.
Okay, wow.
Yeah.
You're for sure 100% on that.
No, they haven't announced it, but everybody is saying that's who they're taking. So.
Well, just follow the odds. I mean, I think he's up to minus 20,000 right now, so it's pretty much a done deal.
He's a little too cavalier to be a first-round pick, in my opinion.
Yeah, he's somewhat of a gunslinger.
I mean, the first pick, yeah, for sure. No, but he is very relaxed in the pocket. I like him. I think that he's got the sentiment to be a great quarterback, but I don't know. It's crazy. He's going. It's that big of a favorite to go first.
Yeah, it's because it's a really bad quarterback draft. I mean, it's really bad.
You don't think you don't think the Dart kid's going to go in front of him?
No, but supposedly the Giants are looking to draft Dart about mid first round.
Okay,
that's the rumor anyway.
So let's do this. I know we talked about it earlier that this isn't the best, being considered the best draft, right? And the three of us played college sports, right? Jeff and I played football, Bubba played baseball, which means we're qualified as GMs. So do you guys have not necessarily a hot take, but what do you think is going to be the biggest surprise or the best pick of the draft? And then what do you think is going to be the bomb of the draft, or at least the bomb of the first round?
Go ahead, Bubba. I'll let you go first.
I'll tell you what'll piss me off. If the Bucks don't pick every single pick as a defensive player, that'll piss me off. And we're all Tampa guy, or at least Jay and I are, but we've got to go defense. We should draft 4 edge rushers, and 3 corners, and let it be. See, throw it at a wall and see what sticks. If we draft an offensive guy, someone's got to make some changes in the front office.
McShay's last mock, the final mock he did today, has them taking the cornerback out of Michigan. So
perfect.
At least you got some defense there.
Perfect. Yeah.
So,
but no, I don't see. I mean, we just talked about. I don't see it's a boring draft, and the only thing that's that I'm waiting to see is who takes the 2 kids from Colorado, because I think they're ballers. I think they're players. It's just who wants to deal with the Dion stuff that comes along with it. But both of those kids can play. I think they both can play at the NFL level.
Yeah, well, we disagree on one of those guys. I mean, Hunter obviously looks like the real deal. I don't know if he's going to get away with playing, both offense and defense in the NFL, but I know he's going to try. But he'll be the real deal moving forward. Sanders, I'm not a fan, and unfortunately, everybody's predicting the Steelers are going to draft him, and that will just annoy me to no end. So. And it has nothing to do with Dion. The Steelers have no problem dealing with distractions. They've proven that over the years. But I just don't think he's very good. Not NFL quality good. So he's an average athlete at best. He's got bad arm strength. He's accurate, which obviously is very important. But as an overall package, man, I just don't want to see him on the Steelers. That sets them back for 2 or 3 years.
He's athletic, but he's not super fast. I mean, I'm starting to fall in line with you here, but I saw arm strength, but maybe I was watching the first 2 games of the season. I just thought he had a tight spiral. He could fit it in the tight spaces, but I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, you can fit it into tight spaces, but a lot of, and I was just watching a highlight too, and there's a lot of great catches by the receivers, but I have the same expression every time I see a touchdown pass or a pass from him. It's the receiver getting crushed. My face is just like, oh, because the kid hung on to the ball.
Yeah.
Now, they're going to tell you he stays in the pocket. He's not afraid, and that's awesome. But that's at the college level, and he was running for his life a lot of the time too. I mean, that offensive line was not great at Colorado.
He also hurt himself by not going to the combine. That's why would you do that?
Because you're
go to the comp. Yeah, I guess so.
And unlike like Jeff said though, Deion shows up in a pair of jeans and runs a 4.2. Shedeur's not going to run a 5. That's the problem.
Yeah, it makes sense.
So, and I'm pretty sure because I'm looking at the stage right now, he's not in New York. And that's not
a good sign.
Uncommon. Well, it's not too uncommon these days, but if you're going to be the first quarterback off the board or the second quarterback off the board in the top 3 spot, you're probably going to be there. But Jeff, I don't think you have anything to worry about. I don't think the Steelers are going to take him.
I sure hope not, man. Real quick though, I think the other guy, we talked about Travis Hunter a little bit. I think the other guy that has a chance to really stand out is Carter from Penn State. So, I mean, I'm not going out on a limb there, obviously, but he has a chance to be special. And it'll be kind of interesting if the mocks hold true and he ends up going to the Giants because, they once upon a time had a pretty good edge rusher, So, yeah, we'll see how often he gets compared to him about 1 million times probably before the season starts, So,
yeah, sure. Well, I mean, if you don't think Shedeur is the quarterback, you probably don't take him at 3. And then I heard, again, McShay, I listened to him today, and he was talking about the Giants trading down in that 24, 25 range, maybe even 26 range, and grabbing Dart. So I guess there's a lot of ties to the Giants organization, former coaches that are down in Mississippi. So they got the intel, and then he's got Shedeur fall into the second round going to Cleveland. So
yeah, I mean, I've also heard about Cleveland interested in trying to jump up in front of Pittsburgh to take them in the first round. So
I'm sure Pittsburgh will love that. Actually,
I'm just hoping it's as a Steeler fan, I'm hoping somebody saves Pittsburgh from themselves because I'm really worried that they're going to actually draft him. So,
well, I hope somebody jumps up and grabs Ashton Genty and he doesn't go to the Jags. And I have no interest in seeing him and Trevor Lawrence for the next couple of years.
Well,
catching passes out of the backfield.
Yeah, right. McShay's talking about the Bears being heavy on him. They want to move up to get him. So,
yeah. Well, don't count Jerry out either. I don't know if he's got.
One of my buddies,
capital.
One of my buddies has a $10 bet that the Cowboys will draft him, and it pays out like $450.
Like it?
It's a ridiculous bet. He sent it to me this morning. I was like, "What the hell?"
I mean, listen, Rico Dowdle had a decent year last year. He came on, somewhat strong at the end of the year, but this kid's potentially electric and elite. So, be interesting to see him. But then you look at Zeke and you're like, shit. There's a 5 to 6 year shelf life on the way the Cowboys abuse their back. So we'll see what happens.
Well, I'm also not. As you know, I'm not super high on Genty either. So I think he's going to be a good pro. I mean, don't get me wrong. I don't think he's going to be a bust or anything. But he's not Bijan Robertson. He's not.
Jeff's all out on this draft.
I think
he's not Gibbs
for top. Yeah, he's not. He's certainly not. What's his face from Penn State? I'm blanking.
Saquon Barkley?
Yeah, he's certainly not Barkley.
Barkley's good at football.
I think the top tier talent is lacking a little bit in this one, Bubba. So it doesn't mean it's not going to be a good draft. And plus, there's always surprises. Producer Tyler was mentioning that a little bit earlier. I mean, there's always somebody that comes out of nowhere that turns into a superstar. So we'll find out. But it's not an exciting draft, right? I mean,
it's not sexy. There's not a ton of big names. If I ask you to name the top 3 receivers, it's hard to even pronounce the number 1 receiver's name. But who do you got after that? Golden. So, the kid from Ohio State, again, difficult name to pronounce. It's, maybe we're not qualified to be GMs if we can't get with the linguistics,
They probably can't say these kids' names either. They probably do the same thing. Hey, I want to take the kid from Ohio State. What's his name? How do you say his name?
Yeah, they just say, "Hey, kid, how you doing? Shake my hand." AI translation. So, all right, well, we don't get paid to talk about the draft. In fact, we don't get paid to talk about anything. So why don't we talk about people who do get paid and get into talking tickets and see who some winners were this week?
Yeah, absolutely.
Producer Tyler, what do we got for talking tickets?
What's going on, guys? Well, let's lead off with the big one that Bubba kind of told the story of, but we got Santa. Is it right, Bubba? We got Santa.
What a gift.
Santa. Yeah. I'm gonna get his social media handle here. We'll put it on. We'll tag him on if we do like a short or something like that.
What a W, huh?
This is it. Yeah. Look at that. Look at that score. The Cubs, and they got guys on second, no outs. I mean, like first and second, no outs.
He had a $2,300 early cash out. What inning was that, and what was the score?
Looks like the bottom of the seventh.
That was the bottom of the seventh with two guys on, nobody out for the Cubs. So like he's sitting pretty. That's why they're giving him that cash out. Didn't take it. And then Diamondbacks.
Was he bitching about it that he didn't take it? Like after?
Oh yeah. It was a roller coaster of emotions. He was bitching he didn't take it. Then they offered him like $25 after the Cubs started their like slow comeback. Oh, it was wild. But I'm so happy that he didn't take that cash out, because in the moment when I'm happy to take it, have been done with it, But he let it ride and it paid off. It was a good hit for him for sure.
Pretty sweet.
Yeah, cash out option would have hurt if he lost. Oh my god.
Yeah.
you go from drunk to drunker.
Oh gosh, for sure.
In a hurry.
What do we got next?
Switching gears here, and that was a $1,500 hit, or $1,500 bet to win $3,300. So awesome W there. And then we go to Chi-Town O to some hoops. We got a $100 bet. It's a W. It's a plus 990 6-leg parlay here. We got Jalen Williams with the assist over, first half total overs, John Morant total threes over, spread for Oklahoma City Thunder minus 8.5. What did they win by? 150 again. John Morant to score 20 plus, yes. Jalen Williams to score 20 plus, yes. Again, big W there for Chi-Town O. Chi-Town O picking up, I think that's like his second or third W with the Casual Chaos podcast, I believe.
Yeah, it's a nice one.
He's gonna win the contest.
Well, that's only three. Oh, that one, yeah, that was a 6-legger. So that he
overshot the contest.
Yeah, he overshot it even.
Yeah,
the contest isn't about showing off. It's about can you get 4 games right. Yeah. It's not about you get 6 games
Anybody
right.
could hit 6. Anybody could hit 6, but can you hit 4?
Everybody that knows anything about gambling, it's easier to hit 6 than it is to hit 4. Come on, day one stuff. What's
Very
next?
Nice.
What do we got?
Then we got one of our listeners on Instagram, I Watch Ball. This is a tasty one here, a $10 bet, a home run parlay. It is Eli White with Atlanta hitting a home run, Dylan Dingler hitting a home run for Detroit, and then Austin Wins hitting a home run for the Reds the other night. This is a $10 bet. How about cashing out over $8,000 on a W there for I Watch Ball? Pretty sick.
That might end up being the record for. I wonder if we see one, the better odds that hits before this year is out. That's pretty crazy.
That's amazing. Yeah,
I love Dylan Dingler's work in boogie nights, so I'm glad he's seeing the baseball field too. What was that guy's name? I Watch Ball.
I Watch Ball. I Watch Ball with the W. Yeah,
they watch all ball. It's not just basketball. It's baseball. Clearly. It's everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's pretty sick. Well, welcome to the program. I Watch Ball. We hope to have you send in some more tickets. But please don't enter the contest. Looks like you know what you're doing, and we want to keep our bragging rights.
Speaking of the contest here, unfortunately, we did have some people. Not unfortunately, we had people submit some picks to us, but unfortunately, we don't have any bragging rights this week. We'll talk about it a little later on, but we do have some losers here to discuss with some of these parlays. So we had, I believe this is One Buck Ant here, if I'm correct, with the $25 bet. For the Rays to win, Pirates to win, Stars plus 1.5, and the Oilers to win. Unfortunately, caught the L there. But again, send us your tickets, guys. We'll have these contests. Somebody will get bragging rights at some point here.
Absolutely.
Well, this isn't the segment for it anyway. So, we talk winners, we talk losers, and talking tickets. We'll get into other people's parlays and see if who's down with OPP for the contest.
Oh, yeah.
And then we got another loser here. This one's kind of a bad beat, man. Feel bad for him. TJ here, he had the Knicks -7 and Josh Hart with the under on 12.5. Probably was sitting pretty for a while, but Josh Hart puts up 8 in the fourth quarter with I think 7 coming in the last 4 minutes of the game to catch the L here. I'm pretty sure I was with him Saturday, and I think he thought he had it in the bag, and unfortunately kind of got the carpet pulled out from underneath him. So unfortunately took the L there for TJ.
This feels like a Chris Berman, Josh break my heart situation where you're just watching the TV. It's like, is this guy really shooting threes right now? They're on a 22-0 run. Could you just give the ball to someone else? What are we doing?
Well, at least it was a smaller side bet, so a bad beat, but only $20. So next time, get him next time.
Yep, good point.
Now we got Johnny Hammer here with a parlay, and unfortunately he hit 3 of 4. So we had the Guardians the other night -1.5, the Red Sox -1.5, the Phillies -1.5, but the Rays and Yankees playing in the softest stadium for runs.
Yeah, the bandbox.
I believe this was a 1-0 game. If I do remember correctly, I believe this was the 1-0 game on a Thursday or Friday night here in Tampa that ended up obviously getting the L for. I believe this was Johnny Hammer. I want to say his name was Johnny Hammer with a tough loss here, unfortunately. But guys, send us your tickets. We do appreciate it. We need them. We want them. We want to see what you guys have to do with your bets, and I love the diversity. We've seen a lot of different stuff, so it's really cool that you guys are sending us, and send us more. Tell your friends about us, please. Find us on all socials.
Yeah, you could DM us on Instagram. We've got that issue resolved. If you don't like using a link or email, feel free to send it any method you want at Casual Chaos. You can send it a post on X. You can send it DM. I don't know if you could do TikTok. I don't know why you would, but get us your tickets. We want to hear from you, whether it's about the contest or straight bets, anything you have. Let's get it out there. Let's talk. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Oh, you beat me to it. Segue.
Yeah, real quick. I was just going to touch on you guys were talking about all the home runs that been getting hit in Tampa, right? There was a reminder, they're playing in the Yankees minor league stadium down there in Tampa this year. And I don't know if it's still the case, but for a while there, they were leading the league in home runs hit. That stadium was leading the league in home runs hit. But sort of a caveat to that is, and this is just very strange, they played 19 of their first 22 games at home. So, I mean, obviously there's going to be a lot of home runs hit there if you're playing 19 games, 19 games there. You know what I mean? So those numbers will even out. But that's crazy. I mean, that's almost 20% of their home schedule in the first month of the season. I mean,
they front loaded it for the first couple months because of obviously they were worried about the heat, but the heat's here early. I will tell you that right now. The heat is here early, so it's not really working out. But yeah, they're playing a bunch of home games in the beginning of the season and then away to end it. So
is that true? I mean, you know that for a fact?
Yeah.
Okay.
They front loaded the schedule to play at home.
Okay.
I think a lot of it had to do more with rain, because I think in the July, August, September, it rains more in the afternoon, and they weren't going to be able to fit the games in, so they're front loading the first couple months.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. All right.
Can also confirm it's hot right now, Jeff. Hot. It was 91 today. Julian had a game at 4:00, and it was hot.
Really
hot.
Yeah,
it was 80 up here today, so which for us that's pretty hot for we're not even in May yet. So
yeah. Well, since we're talking about the heat, let's transition to the NBA. We got NBA playoffs. We got NHL playoffs. What are we paying attention to?
Well, Bubba, you said you wanted to talk about the NHL a little bit, right?
Yeah, it's not a pretty comment either. I was in a group chat with some really, really close buddies of mine, and I was playing devil's advocate, and I'm really starting to believe it. Hockey is not cool. NHL is not cool. Okay. And the reason I say this, and these drafts don't happen at the same time, so this would never be the case. But we started this podcast tonight talking about the NFL draft. Okay. At 9:00 tonight, people are going to look away from whatever hockey game they're watching in Tampa, and they're going to see who the Bucks draft at whatever time they draft. They're going to be very intrigued. They're going to look away from that hockey game to go see who the Bucks draft. Never in a million years would anybody look away from a Bucks-Panthers game at 1:00 in the afternoon to see who the Lightning draft. Okay, it's just not that cool. I think 65% of the people at the arena tonight probably don't know the rules of hockey. I'm on a tear about it because I don't think it's – I mean, tell me if I'm lying. I mean, do you guys agree?
Well, I'll give you a slight counter because I'm sure producer Tyler's going to come over off the top rope on you. Bubba just went John Cena full heel turn, by the way. He's been playing the baby face for a minute. Just about the arena comment, you know, I'm wearing the Tampa shirt, repping all three of the major sports programs in town. And the Lightning are the only one that sell out every week. I mean, what's it been? 8 years, 9 years, consecutive sellouts? Whether people know the rules or not, they like going to the games. The atmosphere is fun. It's a fun live sport. It's not one of my favorites, Bub. I'm not watching it on TV almost ever, but I love going to a game. So the counter is hockey. People dig hockey live. There's hockey fans. There's crazy people in this city that wear those sweaters when it's 90 degrees out. Good for them,
right?
You know, but
let me ask you this.
It's not a big three sport anymore.
Let me ask you this. Baseball's boring, inherently boring. Everybody knows that baseball's boring. Let me ask Jeff and Jay this, and even producer Tyler. Did you guys watch live Ovi beat Gretzky's record? Did y'all watch that live because you knew it was going to happen? Did you say, okay, this game, it could happen? Did you watch it live?
Nope.
Okay. Did you watch Barry Bonds break Hank Aaron's record live? Because I did. I was 12 years old. I watched it. I saw the home run. Okay. So even back then, baseball is more popular, and it's gotten even more. I mean, I guess they've made it a little more interesting, but that moment, the Ovi going ahead of Gretzky is even, it's equivalent at least to Bonds going ahead of Aaron, and everybody watched that. No. Nobody watched that. You don't think it is?
No, I think the Gretzky record no one thought could be beat. Kind of to your point, and I guess I'm siding with you a little bit more. Who cares about the hockey record? Yeah. Everybody knows who Wayne Gretzky is. When you ask somebody in 10 years who has the most goals, most people are still going to say Wayne Gretzky.
Yeah, right. I would agree with that.
And that's my point. Hockey's not cool.
Everybody in the world, before Barry Bonds broke the record, everybody in the country knew Hank Aaron was the home run king.
Right. I do think the records were on par with each other, but the whole point of what we're talking about here is that hockey is just not as popular in this country as baseball or football. So, or
basketball. I mean,
of course.
I went as far as saying I would rather watch Caitlin Clark play a game in the WNBA than watch a hockey game.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a hockey guy, so I'm certainly not going to argue with you.
Well, this isn't a misogynistic program either, so we're just gonna move right off of that topic.
It's an atrocious take, by the way. An atrocious take. I've had to bite my tongue for so long on this. Just got three talking heads. There's three bozos talking on the screen right now, pretty much about this thing. Unbelievable, fellas.
Listen, there's a steel cage behind Bubba. Come off the top. What do you got?
There's no doubt. Go ahead, Tyler. I want to hear your point about it.
I mean, look,
I'll let Jeff talk,
and
then I'll go.
I'm not saying hockey stinks or anything. I'm just not a hockey guy. But you can't deny that it's the fourth most popular sport in this country. I mean, it's not even close.
Right? But it's
I'd argue that it's.
We're only watching it because there's nothing else on.
I think you guys don't watch hockey. I mean, you guys. I mean, how much did you tune in to watch LeBron score the point to beat Kareem, Bubba?
I did not.
Okay, you would say, but NBA is like infinitely more popular than NHL. Does that diminish LeBron James's legacy and career in the NBA?
I just don't.
I would say LeBron. No.
But yeah,
well, that's fine.
You're right.
But I mean, that's another record that's like untouchable record at one point of like, don't think it's going to get broken, and you didn't watch it. So let's not equate it to when you were 12 watching baseball. It's like your ultimate fandom.
That's a good
point.
That's
a little different than watching something when you're 29 years old with a kid and you're running around Disney World. It's kind of hard to watch the Ovechkin thing to break the record. So a little different, but hockey's so much fun. And I think to what Jay said, they sell out every night. Like there's very little arenas that you go to. Now there's only 17,000 people in the arena, so it's a lot easier to sell out when you only got 17,000 than when you're trying to fill out a NFL stadium and stuff. But an NFL stadium's got what, 70,000. They play 8 home games. You're gonna get more popular for those 8 games than you are the 44 that are at Amalie. They sell it every night at Amalie, every night. So, and they very rarely sell out Raymond James every game in a season. Very rarely. So I would argue that there's a lot more popularity.
Do you know who the Lightning draft? Do you know who the Lightning drafted the last 4 years in a row?
I couldn't tell you who the Bucks drafted.
I mean,
who the Bucks drafted in the 3rd round last year? I don't know.
I don't know. They drafted in the 3rd round, but I could probably name you their last 1st round picks.
Maybe. I don't know. But I don't think the draft means you're not a fan of the sport.
I'm just saying, like, you go to the game because it's nice to go to the game at 7:00. Everybody's at the arena. It's where you want to be. It's fine, but it's like, I don't know.
I also don't think anybody's arguing that NHL is more popular than any of them. I'm not arguing that, but to say it's not like enjoyable or cool, hockey's the best sport to watch live. There's total action the whole time. Football, you get 12 seconds of play, and then,
I'll buy that.
Okay, then we sit down and watch nothing for another minute and a half. NBA is a snooze fest nowadays because the way they play basketball is just a snooze fest to me. And baseball, I haven't watched a baseball game in forever.
You should get back to it. They got
no. I went to the
it
game the other day. It was
too.
cool for half an inning. It's just so boring. It's just unbelievably boring.
Wow.
And maybe I got TikTok brain like all these kids, and like I need the like constant movement. But yeah, I think it's just an atrocious take.
Well, the Lightning are losing, and they got their ass beat the first game, and so I just don't think this conversation is going to go. When the Lightning are out of it, are you still going to watch? That's my point.
100%.
Okay.
The question
I will not watch the draft tonight. I do not give 2 flying fucks about who anybody drafts tonight.
Yeah, but it's going to get a monster. But it'll get a monster rating.
Of course, but who gives a shit about?
Well,
it'll
get
a better rating than the NHL Stanley Cup, which is.
It might not.
I don't agree with that.
It's a fact.
Roger Goodell just led a bicycle parade out on stage with Clay Matthews and a bunch of other people, and it was 9 adults that look like they've never rode a 2-wheel bicycle in their lives. So they might have lost half the audience already.
They're out.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it.
So
anyway,
I just don't agree with it, but I'm going to watch all of it. I like football. I love football. It's number 1 to me. I'm not disputing that. Football's the best. But I'll put NHL right there at number 2, and I'll watch all the finals. All the finals of all these sports, I watch. So, like, I don't really care. But
I watch the NBA.
I watch
for sure.
the entire playoffs for the NHL, and I watch a lot of Lightning games.
So last year's draft averaged 11.5 million fans or viewers. I don't know what you tell me. Does the NHL does the Stanley Cup get 11.5 million viewers? I'd be surprised if they do.
We could look it up. That's the good thing about this. But you guys can continue the conversation. I'll look it up.
Yeah.
Well, the Lightning are losing 1-0. Got the over tonight, so that's not great. Could use some more goals there. Does anybody else have a hot hockey take, or did we melt enough ice?
Steven Stamkos should have retired a Lightning player.
I'll just a quick rebuttal on baseball being boring. And this is really quick. Last 2 years, attendance is up. Last 2 years, TV ratings are up. So the changes that they have made to the game are definitely working. And being a big baseball fan, I hope it continues. But let's talk some NBA real quick before we
switch gears real quick. The average viewership of Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Finals.
Well, who said Game 7? I didn't say Game 7.
Oh, I'm sorry. What do you want me to say?
No, go ahead. What's the number?
His average was 16.3 million.
Yeah, okay.
And they had 7 games of it, so you had the build up at all. The NFL draft has 1 day, so they average per game 8.8. That's right on par with a 1-day event.
The draft has 3 days in its defense.
On TV?
Yeah.
Oh,
first round.
That 11 million's not the other 2 days. I guarantee it. That's night one. That's night one.
Absolutely, I agree.
No, let's see. Let me see. I mean, go ahead. We could go on to something else, but I'll pull that up again and see if I could.
Well, let's talk about the NBA.
Let's go on the NBA.
We got a couple series that look like they're done. We got a couple series that looks like they're going to be literal rock fights until the end. We've got some people on this podcasts that predicted the Lakers, and after the first game getting smacked in the mouth at home, I'm sure neither of those people felt great about it. So
They came back.
Yeah, but Pacers look fantastic. Milwaukee looks done. So it's 2-0. Milwaukee might steal one tonight, but tomorrow night. I don't see that happening. No. So Jeff, what are you looking at right now when you're watching the games?
And by the way, that number was for night one of the draft. Yeah, I'm very, very interested in the Nuggets. Probably like a lot of basketball fans, the Nuggets series. I'm hoping that Denver can pull that out. It's funny, the series is tied 1-1 right now, but you could argue that each team won a game they shouldn't have won and lost a game they should have won. You know what I mean? So,
Yep.
But it's still 1-1, which I think is the right split at the moment. Denver's on the road starting tonight, so I'm really looking forward to that. We'll see if Kawhi can stay healthy. He put up a monster performance in Game 2. Joker, although statistically he had a good game, if you watched it, he struggled a little bit. A lot of turnovers, a lot of bad turnovers. So we'll see what happens tonight. But I'll be up late tonight, so we'll see. You guys might be getting a text from me at like 1 a.m. So I'm just warning you now.
That's fine. I'll be watching that game too.
Yeah,
I told you, was it yesterday, Jeff, after listening to one of the pods that you and I listened to, they had a whole 25-minute segment on Kawhi just gushing about the what ifs, and it immediately made me think he's going to get hurt tonight and he's going to miss the rest of the series, and we're going to have a lot more what ifs and Joker's in advance.
It's not funny, right? But he hasn't made through a series in years, right? He hasn't actually gotten through a playoff series in years. So
yeah, no doubt.
We'll see if he can survive or not.
Yeah, I mean, but that series, I think, that's going to be a 6 to 7 game series one way or another. I think the T-Wolves and the Lakers are a 6 to 7 game series as well. I think there's going to probably alternate until we get to Game 7. The Rockets looked impressive last night. They looked young. They looked strong, super athletic. And, I think I shot you the Seinfeld reference. Jimmy's down. Butler went down. If he's going to miss a game, even a game, that's going to set that series. That's going to flip that series upside down. And then the Thunder, they're just destroying Memphis. We'll talk about that coming up. But I think Memphis is breaking the huddle 1, 2, 3 Bahamas. You know what I mean? Like they're just ready to go on vacation. They want no part of OKC right now. So that's the West. Tatum didn't play last night, Jeff. What do you think's going on there with his wrist?
Yeah, I'm hoping they just think they don't need him to win this series, which is probably true. He's doubtful again tomorrow, so we're not going to see him tomorrow either. They don't need him to win the series. Will it end up being a little bit tougher if he doesn't play? Of course, but they'll still end up winning in, I would say, 6 games minimum. I would be shocked if it won 7. So I'm not really worried about it. I'm worried about it long term, right? Moving forward.
Sure.
You're hoping that it's only something that is going to bother him for a week or two, because if he's it's a shooting risk, too. So if he's struggling with it in round 2, that's a problem.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
But I agree with your take there. I think Cleveland winds up sweeping the Heat. I don't see any signs of life there. I see Indiana, probably 5, but most likely 6. I think Giannis probably steals a game or 2 on his own, but that Milwaukee they look flat. They don't have the energy to keep up. I don't know if you see something I don't.
I was surprised that I thought that. I mean, again, the first 2 games were in Indiana, so you got to weigh that with how Milwaukee looked. But yeah, they didn't look great, and I thought that might be a really good series. So we'll have to see if they bounce back tomorrow in Game 3 at home. Obviously, if they don't, the series is over. So big game for them.
I've got a lot of Knicks fans in my life, so this is going to be not quite as unpopular as Bubba's hockey take, but I think the Pistons are going to wind up winning the series.
I mean, this is another one I thought was going to be 6 or 7 games. I know a lot of people thought the Knicks were going to win in 5. I just didn't see that. I guess it's possible they still do, but I wouldn't be shocked if Detroit won. So, the Knicks did the big overhaul in the offseason, right? They
Yeah.
sort of changed their team from last year. They went from being like a old school defensive team to now they're more about scoring points. Detroit's just really young and exciting, and it's a good series so far. And as we were talking about earlier, there's a lot of bad blood already, so that always makes for a fun series. Hopefully, it goes 6 or 7.
Yeah, it looks like Tibbs puts miles on those guys. I mean, anybody that follows the league and watches Knicks games, they're maybe 7 deep, but the starting 5 is going to play 38 to 42, 43 minutes. Tough to do in the playoffs, especially when you're playing a young, hungry team that's throwing 9, 10 bodies at you.
I mean, the problem is that he plays them like that in the regular season too, though. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It'd be one thing if they were well rested coming into the playoffs, but he runs them into the ground all year. So
yeah. Well, it's interesting because we haven't. At least I don't remember this in the last, let's call it 10 years, Jeff. I don't remember 2 teams one in the East, one in the West, that both had less than stellar seasons the previous year. Significant jumps, Pistons going from the cellar basically to a 6 seed, and the Rockets going from, missing the playoffs to the 2 seed. But it's almost like carbon copy rosters, right? Sprinkle a couple veterans that know what they're doing. They're pros. They can keep the locker room in check. And you just got a ton of freakish athletes that are just running on, and the Twins are playing on opposite teams, obviously. Yeah. But you just got these young kids that are young, hungry, running all over the place. And it's like, elevate and decide in the air, right? I'll figure it out after the fact. I'm just going to out athlete you.
Yeah. I guess the one difference between those 2 teams would be Cunningham, right?
Sure.
I mean, he's got a chance to be a top 5 player in the next couple of years. You don't really see anybody, and I mean, Şegun's really good, but he's more of a defensive, intangible type player than he is an offensive stud.
You don't think check out my fingernails, Jalen is on par? No.
With Cade, no, I do not. So, but Bubba, we've monopolized this conversation. What are you thinking about the NBA right now?
Cam Ward did go number 1, by the way.
He did. Pistons, Lakers. That's all. That's my comment on the NBA.
Pistons, Lakers, like is in the finals.
Yeah.
Pistons, Lakers.
What's that pay? $1 pays $1 million.
Probably. I think
as
the
good
Pistons
as your
are
NHL
young.
takes. As good as your NHL takes.
Pistons, Lakers.
I think Bubba's had too much wine.
Well, Tyler's got the Lakers in the finals too, though. So
I have the Lakers. Yeah,
you both do.
Yeah, I don't feel great about it after game 1, but they came back in game 2 and took care of
they
business.
Came back in game 2. Why is nobody talking about game 2? Everybody's just sticking to game 1
because they lost by like 30 in game 1.
That's fine, but they won game 2.
Feel out game for LeBron. The 4th.
Some world class officiating in game 2.
Yeah, well, that was to be expected. Well, we'll see what I mean. Look, Minnesota did what they had to do. They had to win 1 game on the road. They did that. So now we'll see if they could win 2 at home. We'll see what happens.
Luka's gonna take over. It's all good. Lakers are fine.
Okay.
All right, let's move it on. We were talking about it before the pod. Bubba's got a Derby disruption next week. I don't know how many people listening to the pod are horse racing fans. We got the Kentucky Derby next week. We're not going to spend much time. We're not going to spend any time on it this week, but we are going to tease that a good portion of the pod next week will be focused on the Derby. Bob Baffert's triumphant return. It's been 5-6 years since the suspension. So horse racing's Ric Flair is back in the building. So that's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be it's a wide open field. We got a lot to talk about next week.
F John Cena. Flair's still the best.
So I'll talk
totally
about this.
Redeem yourself, Jeff.
It's on Netflix. It's called the Race for the Crown.
Yeah.
Have you seen that? Have you started watching it?
Yeah, started watching it.
It's pretty damn cool. It's pretty cool. It gets a very, very in-depth insight on the owners, the trainers, the jockeys, the race to the Triple Crown. Obviously it's in the title, but get to the Derby. Then you got, I think it's the Preakness and the Belmont. I mean, just crazy detail and pretty cool to watch.
No, it's going to be great. And by the way, Jeff, shout out Springfield College, John Cena.
Yeah.
SC football, baby.
Yeah, your best buddy.
Yeah. Hey, I was older. He was younger. What are you going to do?
By the way, I have like a long shot horse that I kind of like for the Derby. So, like you said, we'll talk about that next week. But I do have my eye on somebody already.
All right, great. So that's coming next week. Let's get to bragging rights and let's get this thing.
We can all bow our heads because none of us did any good this week.
Yeah,
so.
it's gonna be quick. Let's just recap the loss because I'm pretty sure we all got beat pretty much by the time we ended the pod last week.
Yep,
it was close.
Yep.
Yeah, we were all in trouble. We were all in trouble. Yeah.
Yeah. Tyler, what do you got?
Yeah. So just real quick.
Whoa, we got a trade.
Yeah,
people.
I was gonna say that.
Go.
The Jaguars just traded with the Browns to get into the second pick. I don't know who they're gonna pick. Have they picked yet?
So the Jags moved up to number 2.
Yeah.
Traded
their
fifth.
They're definitely not taking a quarterback.
They might go Genty.
They could take.
They might.
Oh,
people have said the odds for him to go to the Jags was like plus 190 at one point today.
Yeah, but then I heard from McShay that the Bears were looking to trade up to the Jags spot. So maybe the Jags are high on them as people think. I can't imagine they would move to 2 to take a running back. I mean, that would be shocking.
It's got to be Hunter. It's got to be.
You think?
Or Carter. One of the other.
I think Abdul Carter is probably the pick.
He's from Jacksonville.
Who? Travis?
Yeah, isn't he from Jacksonville?
I have no idea where he's from.
He played at Jacksonville State.
You know
that's in Jacksonville, Georgia.
That's true.
So the funny thing is that they
same thing.
They traded up to 2, which means that they have a player in mind.
The pick is in.
It is. I was just gonna say they'll probably take the whole 20 minutes, but that's good. I'm glad
they did. It took a while. That it was going while you guys were talking about. Wow.
Tyler, put up those bragging right losers.
Yeah, I'll put them up real quick while we talk. So I'll just rattle them off, guys, so you guys don't have to go over anything. This was Jeff's. Jeff had the Heat, or he had the Bulls minus 1.5, the Kings, the Yankees minus 1.5, and the Dodgers minus 1.5. Who was the loser on that?
I think Jeff, I lost both NBA games. I think I went 2-2. Yeah,
gotcha. And then we'll throw up Bubba. Bubba's last week was when he had the Rays here minus 135 money line. He also had the Phillies money line, and then he had the Kings and Lakers. Lakers were the L there, Bubba.
Yep.
And then JayAsh, he had
and the Phillies. I think you've lost a Phillies game too, right?
Yeah, I think that one was over before we even started.
Yeah,
or ended the podcast last time. But then we had the Rays and Red Sox over 9.5 for Jay, at Nuggets minus 2.5, Magic plus 14, and Brian Harmon in the top 10. I think the Red Sox Rays game ended poorly for you there, Jay.
It did, and the Magic ended up getting smacked by the Celtics as well. So two out of 4, not good.
Yeah, not good. But now we have this week. We'll go to Jeff first. Jeff, you can kind of talk about yours here, right here.
Well, we got the Pistons winning on the money line. We got the Thunder giving the 8.5. Even though they're on the road tonight, I think they're going to smack Memphis again. Again, I talked about the Nuggets earlier. I'm looking forward to that game, but I got them winning on the money line. And a little UFL action, fellas. I got
we go.
I got the under Friday night in the Memphis-Birmingham game. So,
Jeff, eventually these guys in the UFL are going to figure it out. They're going to go over at one point. I just hope it's not this weekend.
Yeah, well, one of those teams has 0 wins. So I'm feeling pretty confident about this one. But
is that the no-show boats?
Yeah, they're 0-4, I think. So
it's a no-show.
Very nice. Well, we're still alive in this one, which is good. We're still alive on that one. Bubba, what about yours here?
Let's see. I think I got the Lightning. It's the end of the second, and they're down. I still have hope for that one. Ottawa, it's been my team all year.
Team all year? I thought you didn't watch hockey.
Well, it's been my betting team all year. I see Ottawa, and I bet them. It's got a 1 in front of them. I bet them. Good call out there, though. I've got the Rangers. That's just a heartstring play because my buddy's brother's on the team and DeGrom's on the mound. You always got a chance with him on the mound. And then I just looked at this Baltimore Nationals game. I didn't know any of the pitchers, and I said they're going to score over 8 runs. And so I put this in 25 to win 240, and that's my bragging rights. And I'm hoping that I get close to hitting before this, or at least I'm still alive before this podcast is done recording.
You got a chance, I think.
All right, and then we got JayAsh. JayAsh, why don't you go over yours here?
I'm still waiting for this pick to come in.
I know.
I told you they would take the whole.
They just showed Travis
Yeah.
Hunter. They just showed Travis Hunter, and I want to know where his girlfriend is.
So we got 25 pays. Let's call it. Let's just round up to 600. We've got the Thunder minus 9.5 tonight. As I said, Memphis is breaking huddles with 1-2-3 vacation. Diamondbacks minus 1.5 versus the Rays tonight. See some runs on the Diamondbacks side. I've got Lowry and McIlroy to win the Zurich. That's the team golf event. They're sitting on a tie for 23 right now, -8, 6 off the lead. Not a problem there. I'll take the 2 Irish guys that won it last year. And then Tatario McMillan, interesting draft play here. The first receiver taken, not named Travis Hunter, -325. So that's my 25, gets me 600. And Travis Hunter is off the board. So my parlay is now on the clock.
I was wondering if that was I didn't read your bet there, and I was just literally about to say, I was like, does Travis Hunter count? Does it matter what they say when he's like drafted as?
Mm-hmm.
Like if they drafted him as a wide receiver, if that obviously the bet was non Travis Hunter.
So there's two different markets, Tyler. There was a market for the number 1 receiver taken, and Hunter, I believe, was -2,000. So
so I guess
kind of like the Masters when they have the who's going to win besides Rory, who's going to win besides Scotty, right?
Yeah.
It looks like a layup to me because I don't see any. The only person would be Golden that might jump him, but that's not going to happen. So if he's not going to get past Jerry if he's still there. Let's put it that way.
That's pretty cool, man. He's going to be good there, I think.
Hunter?
I like him in Jacksonville, yeah.
I don't like him in Jacksonville, though, because it's kind of like a wasteland,
God, it is.
It is, but they're going to love him in London.
Oh, yeah.
That's all that really matters. All right. Well, we've run this is probably the longest one we've done. Can I say that? Done? Probably the one we've done. So it's probably the longest podcast we've done thus far. And maybe it's because we're veterans at this now. We're professionals. This is our 5th podcast. We're appreciative of everybody tuning in when you do. Again, wherever you get your pod, you can find us, the Casual Chaos Live Podcast, the Sports Wagering Community. Follow us on all the socials: Facebook, X, Twitter, Instagram. I'm sorry, I said Twitter again. I'm going to get sued.
You said X first, though. So.
Yeah, I'm getting better at it. So maybe we're not that professional. Instagram, all of it. TikTok at Casual Chaos Live. We are going to sign off. Again, we're going to record next Wednesday. We have another pod member that's got some big golf plans. We'll let him talk about that next week. Get ready for the Derby. Enjoy hockey this weekend. Enjoy basketball. Enjoy everything you do. And let your winners ride. Let's get it going. Guys, it was awesome.
All right, fellas. Good show, man.
Peace out. Go Bolts.
Take care, everybody.
See ya. Take it easy. Hi, everyone. This is JayAsh, one of the hosts of the Casual Chaos podcast you are about to listen to discusses gambling and wagering on sporting events. Please be advised the gambling and sports wagering content during this podcast is for informational and entertainment purposes only and does not constitute financial or gambling advice. Sports wagering involves significant risk. If you choose to gamble, please do so responsibly and only gamble with funds that you can comfortably afford to lose. All opinions, wagering tickets discussed, or implied wagers on the Casual Chaos podcast are not guarantees to result in financial gain. You must be 21 years or older or of legal gambling age in your jurisdiction to participate in sports wagering. Please verify the gambling and sports wagering laws and regulations within your jurisdiction prior to placing bets. Listeners are solely responsible for their own wagering decisions and outcomes. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, help is available. Call or text the National Problem Gambling Helpline at 1-800-GAMBLER. That's 1-800-426-2537. We encourage everyone to engage with sports betting responsibly. The host and the Casual Cast podcast assume no liability for any losses incurred as a result of listening to this content.